There is a moment that none of us can avoid. The moment when the breath that has moved through us since the beginning suddenly stops. When the heart, after thousands of rhythmic beats, decides to rest, it is a moment that appears to be an ending. But it is not. Because while the body stills, consciousness does not. Science calls this clinical death. But what happens in that fragile interval between the last heartbeat and what lies beyond is one of the greatest frontiers of human understanding. It's a space where biology and mystery overlap, and where hundreds of near-death reports begin to converge into a single patterned silence that feels alive. People who have crossed that threshold and returned often describe the same strange calm, a feeling that the noise of thought fades, and what remains is awareness itself, pure, expansive, unafraid. For some, it begins as a vibration, a hum at the edges of perception. For others, a sudden lightness, as if gravity has forgotten their name. It's not falling, it's unfolding. What they're describing is not fantasy. It's the shift from physical consciousness, anchored in neurons and synapses, to energetic consciousness, where awareness begins to operate in the same domain as light, frequency, and information. In the first seconds after death, the body's electromagnetic field begins to fade. But the field of consciousness, the subtle energy that science is only beginning to measure, remains active. The brain, once thought to shut down instantly, releases a surge of coherent gamma waves, more organized than in waking life. Neuroscientists have measured it, a flash of order at the threshold of departure. It's as if the brain, in its final moment, opens a door rather than closes one. Many who return describe watching their own body from above. They report seeing doctors moving, family members weeping, machines beeping, all from a calm and expanded vantage point. Not hallucination, not imagination, but perception beyond the limits of the senses. In those first moments, the soul is still intertwined with matter. Some traditions speak of the silver cord, an energetic filament connecting the spiritual body to the physical one. As the biological current fades, this luminous bridge thins until it finally dissolves. And when it breaks, consciousness is free. But free doesn't mean gone. It means unbound, unfolded into a larger field that has always been there waiting. Imagine awareness as light trapped within a prism. When the glass shatters, the light doesn't disappear. It expands in all directions. That's what the first seconds after death are like. An expansion so natural, it feels like remembering rather than ending. The soul begins to experience itself as energy. There is no weight, no pain, no heartbeat. Only a pulse of vibration that feels infinite, yet intimate. Some reports seeing a glow, not outside them, but everywhere, as if the entire space is made of light that recognizes them. There's no question of where am I, because location no longer applies. It's not space you move through, it's awareness you awaken in. And this awareness remembers. It remembers the countless dreams, intuitions, and synchronicities that hinted that life was always more than biology. It recognizes that the body was never a prison, only a translator. Now, without that translation, the raw signal of existence is felt directly. The separation of the soul and body is not a violent act. It's a soft release. Like an old knot untied after years of holding. Each thread, memory, emotion, identity loosens gently until consciousness can float without resistance. But not every soul experiences the same clarity. Some drift into confusion, unable to accept that the body they once inhabited has gone still. They see familiar rooms, familiar faces, yet no one hears their voice. They knock on invisible walls of air. They reach for touch that no longer exists. It's not punishment, it's momentum. The mind continues. Its last habit, the belief in separation, in form and solidity. For souls who cultivated awareness in life through meditation, gratitude, or simple presence, the transition feels natural. They know that they were never the body, only the consciousness animating it. They recognize the field around them not as the afterlife, but as home. For others, the process takes longer, because awakening doesn't begin at death. It continues there. Every ancient teaching, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead to modern near-death research, agrees on one point. Consciousness does not cease with the body. Instead, it expands into the frequency field that physics now describes as the unified field. A sea of energy where every photon, every particle, remains connected beyond time and space. Quantum theory calls it non-locality. Spirituality calls it eternity. Both describe the same truth. The soul does not travel through space. It shifts through vibration. Gap, then, is not departure. It's resonance. When the body's frequency lowers to stillness, the consciousness that powered it harmonizes with a broader band of existence. It merges with a frequency that transcends space-time, what mystics call the light. And that light is not somewhere else. It's here. It's what has been holding you, breathing you, moving you all along. At this first stage, the soul becomes aware of its new body, subtle, luminous, fluid like air. Thought and motion blend into one. You think, and you move. You feel, and the field responds. Those who have returned from this threshold often say it felt more real than life itself. Colors beyond colors. Sounds that you don't just hear, but feel resonating through your being. A reality more vivid, more immediate, more complete. This is the beginning of the soul's awakening, beyond form. A realization not of ending, but of continuity. Not of silence, but of stillness that sings. Because consciousness cannot die. It only changes its frequency. The moment you die is not a fall into darkness. It is the return of awareness to its natural state, luminous, connected, free. Every law of energy says the same. Nothing is lost. Everything transforms. And in the same way that a melody never truly ends, it just fades into silence. Waiting to be heard again, your consciousness continues its song, in another octave, in another field, in the great, quiet expanse of what we call beyond. In the first days after death, consciousness does not vanish into a void. It hovers near the threshold, still sensitive to the density of matter, still feeling the magnetic pull of everything familiar. It's a phase many spiritual traditions describe in great detail. The Tibetans call it the bardo, the in-between. Spiritist philosophy calls it the period of detachment. Modern researchers in near-death and after-death phenomena speak of transitional fields, where the electromagnetic and emotional residues of life slowly dissolve. But no matter the name, they all describe the same truth. After the body dies, the soul remains close, observing, sensing, remembering. Imagine waking up from a deep dream and realizing you're still in the room where you fell asleep. But something feels strange. The air feels lighter. The light itself seems to come from everywhere at once. You see the people you love. You hear their voices. But when you try to reach out, your hand moves through them like mist. For many souls, this is the first realization. They are present, but unseen. They can perceive, but cannot interact. And this paradox creates an ache deeper than any physical pain, to feel love and be unable to express it. This is why ancient wisdom calls these first 7 days the echo period. The soul is still reverberating with the frequency of its last incarnation. The energetic threads, the emotional cords that tied it to the physical world, are still vibrating. And vibration, as physics teaches, does not stop abruptly. It decays slowly, harmonically, like a bell fading into silence. During these 7 days, the soul remains attuned to the emotional field of those it loved. The electromagnetic resonance between hearts, a phenomenon measured by the HeartMath Institute, continues, even beyond death. The frequencies of grief, love, longing, and gratitude become the air the soul breathes. It senses the sorrow of the living not as sound, but as waves of dense vibration. This is why the emotions of those left behind matter so deeply. Desperate attachment acts like gravity. It holds the soul close to the surface of matter, unable to rise to lighter planes. But acceptance, gratitude, and love act like light, lifting it, guiding it, harmonizing the field between worlds. It's not metaphor, it's resonance, physics. Every thought and emotion generates measurable frequencies. When they're coherent, when love replaces despair, they open pathways through the subtle dimensions, creating what mystics have always described as the light. Many who have died and returned report witnessing their own funerals, seeing loved ones gather, watching every gesture and word. They describe feeling, not judgment, but empathy. They sense each person's emotion as energy. A calm prayer feels like warmth. A scream of anguish feels like turbulence. Neither is wrong. Both are natural, but they shape the path. It is often said that during this time, the soul stands by as the living mourn. It listens. It remembers. It understands the weight of its absence. But it also begins to understand something deeper, that it is not gone, only invisible. It may see its body lying still, but the realization comes slowly. I am not that anymore. This realization can take hours, days, or for some, much longer. The speed of awakening depends on one thing: how deeply the consciousness identifies with matter. Those who lived with spiritual awareness adjust quickly, like divers surfacing from deep water. Those who clung to material life often linger, still trying to breathe air that no longer exists. For souls that struggle, guides appear. Not mythical angels, but luminous intelligences. Beings of compassion operating at higher vibrational coherence. They are not external saviors. They are consciousnesses in resonance, responding to the law of sympathetic vibration. The universe, through them, whispers, "You are safe. Follow the light." The transition isn't a single moment, it's a gradient. And these 7 days are its softest slope, a luminous bridge between density and freedom. The first day, realization. The second, resistance. The third, confusion. The fourth, memory. The fifth, surrender. The sixth, gratitude. The seventh, release. No clock dictates this sequence. It unfolds in the rhythm of the soul's vibration. Throughout this week of transformation, time itself feels different. There is no linear progression, only cycles of recognition and calm. The soul may revisit places it loved, the house where it laughed, the garden where it dreamed, the faces that defined its story. It observes not with eyes, but through direct perception, feeling the emotional signatures of each place. Every location holds a frequency. Homes, objects, even photographs emit subtle electromagnetic memories, and the soul senses them all. When the resonance softens, when the emotional field stabilizes, the silver threads, connecting the soul to matter, dissolve completely. It is said that this is the moment of the second death, the release not of body, but of attachment. For the living, this is why the first 7 days are sacred. Their grief, if expressed with love, becomes a gentle wind, helping the soul rise. Their prayers act as harmonizing frequencies, guiding it through the echo field. Across cultures, this period is marked by rituals. In Tibetan tradition, monks chant to remind the soul of its true nature, sound as a vibrational compass. In Christianity, prayers and candles are offered, not to summon the dead, but to light their way. In Spiritist teachings, people are encouraged to think of the departed with peace, not despair, because thought itself is an electromagnetic act. Every culture, every path points to the same science of compassion, that love is an energy strong enough to cross dimensions. During these 7 days, when the veil between worlds is thin, that energy becomes language. The soul feels it as a current, a melody, a call from home. And then, one day, or what feels like a day, something changes. The heaviness fades. The field brightens. The pull of earth weakens. A new vibration begins to sing in the distance. It's not sound, it's recognition, a tunnel of light, a gate, a bridge. Every culture describes it differently, but they all mean the same thing. Coherence has been achieved. When that moment arrives, the soul looks one last time at the life it just lived. It feels every prayer, every tear, every thank you. And then, gently, it lets go. From this release, a new cycle begins. The soul, now lighter, begins to drift toward higher frequency fields, not up, not away, but inward. Because heaven is not a place, it's a vibration. A bandwidth of reality that exists here, but invisible to physical perception. The 7 days were only the first octave of departure, a tuning phase between dimensions. And now, the journey deepens. The field expands. The memories sharpen. The truth of who you are begins to bloom. This is where the soul begins to understand, not just that it exists, but why. After the first week of detachment, the soul enters a quieter, more introspective phase. If the first 7 days are about realizing that life as it was has ended, the next 40 are about remembering why it began. This is not judgment, it is reflection. And it unfolds not in words, but in frequency. Across traditions, from Christianity to Buddhism, the same number reappears. 48, 40 days in the desert, 40 days of purification, 40 days before ascension. Even the body, after death, takes about 40 days to complete its organic dissolution. The pattern isn't symbolic by chance, it's vibrational. 40 days marks the time consciousness needs to complete the reorganization of its energetic field. The soul, now fully released from the dense layers of matter, begins to perceive reality, not as space, but as information. Every thought, every feeling, every decision from its life on earth still exists. Recorded in what mystics call the Akashic field, and what physics calls the zero-point field. A sea of quantum data, eternal, holographic, complete. When consciousness expands beyond the body, it interfaces directly with this field. It sees not through eyes, but through resonance. Each emotion vibrates as color. Each memory appears as a pattern of light. Soul does not watch its life pass before it. It feels it all at once. Every moment, every interaction, every breath is relived. Not linearly, but simultaneously. A total immersion in cause and effect. And here lies one of the most profound revelations of existence. The soul feels what it made others feel. If it brought someone joy, that joy returns as light. If it caused pain, that pain becomes its own. For a moment, not as punishment, but as understanding. This is not divine retribution. It's energetic coherence. The field seeks balance. It shows the soul its own vibration reflected perfectly back. Many who have had near-death experiences describe this life review vividly. They speak of a panoramic unfolding, not a movie of their life, but a living mirror of emotion. And through this mirror, they say, an infinite presence of love surrounds them. Not judgmental, not angry, just aware. It is as if the universe itself, intelligent, compassionate, vast, is saying, "Now see what I saw through you." Some traditions call this the weighing of the heart. Science might call it holographic feedback. But both point to the same truth. Consciousness observes itself to evolve. During these 40 days, the soul is often accompanied by luminous presences, mentors, guides, sometimes familiar spirits who have already crossed. They are not there to impose meaning, but to clarify it. Their vibration radiates peace so profound that even regret transforms into learning. They help the soul decode its experiences, why certain pains occurred, what each lesson tried to reveal, how every encounter carried a thread of purpose. In the physical world, life often feels random, triumph and tragedy, joy and loss appearing without order. But from this higher perspective, the symmetry is unmistakable. Each event, no matter how painful, fits into a pattern of growth. The soul sees how its smallest actions rippled through the web of existence, how a word of kindness altered the day of a stranger, how a single act of cruelty echoed through generations, how everything was connected, always. It is a humbling, liberating revelation. Energy cannot hide its history. Physics calls this conservation of information. Every particle of reality remembers where it has been and what it has touched. Consciousness is no different. It carries its imprint across lifetimes, evolving through each vibration it emits. This 40-day passage is where that information is reviewed, harmonized, and released. It's where guilt becomes forgiveness and attachment becomes wisdom. Because when the soul understands, the frequency shifts. And when the frequency shifts, the past itself transforms. Not erased, but integrated. This process is not painful in the human sense. It is luminous. It feels like bathing in truth, bright, pure, undeniable. Some describe it as standing in front of an ocean of light that shows everything and forgives everything simultaneously. It's not that someone forgives you. It's that you forgive yourself through understanding. When the soul sees that even its mistakes were born from ignorance, not malice, shame dissolves. And in its place arises a profound compassion for self, for others, for the human condition itself. This is the true liberation. Emotional coherence restored. As the days unfold in this higher plane, the soul begins to release the heavier frequencies of attachment. Homes, possessions, titles, and even certain relationships begin to fade from focus. Not because they're forgotten, but because love no longer depends on form. The soul remembers love in its purest vibration, unconditional, radiant, unbound by fear. From this state, it sends waves of peace back to the living. Soft transmissions that many experience as sudden calm, a scent in the air, a warm breeze, a dream so vivid it feels real. These are not illusions. They are signals. Frequency crossings between dimensions. Meanwhile, the guides continue their work, helping the soul balance its energy field. If it carried trauma or unresolved emotion, that energy appears now as distortion vibrations that need harmonizing. Through what might be described as magnetic healing, the soul's subtle body is recalibrated. It's like tuning an instrument. Every discordant note of the past is gently brought into harmony. For some, this phase feels like rest, deep, luminous rest that can last what would feel like weeks in human time. For others, it's active healing, immersion in streams of sound and color that realign the energy matrix of being. When coherence returns, the soul feels light again, truly light, no longer defined by history, identity, or memory. It simply is. At the end of this 40-day cycle, something extraordinary occurs. The vibration changes. A sense of completion settles in. The emotional gravity of Earth loosens. The soul turns toward what it instinctively knows as home. Higher dimensions of subtle energy. Many describe this as seeing a vast field of light that pulses like a heartbeat. Not external, but within everything. It's the call of Source, the central intelligence that governs all creation. The soul is not forced to go. It chooses, or rather, it remembers that it was never apart from that light to begin with. With gratitude for the life it lived, compassion for every being it touched, and trust in what comes next, it steps, or rather, shifts forward. And the 40 days of liberation complete their purpose. After 40 days of release and remembrance, a stillness forms. Not an absence of motion, but the perfect rhythm of alignment. The soul has rebalanced its frequency. Its resonance is coherent once more, like a chord finally tuned to the universal song. And in that harmony, a door appears. It's not a physical door. It's a threshold of vibration, what many near-death experiencers describe as a tunnel of light. The tunnel is not a place to travel through. It is consciousness accelerating into higher resonance. You are not moving toward the light. You are remembering that you are the light. As the soul reaches through this vibrational spectrum, it begins to perceive vast new planes, luminous fluid realities, shaped not by matter, but by meaning. Here, every color is alive, every sound is intelligent. Time loses its linear grip. The past, the present, the future, all merge into a single unfolding awareness. This is the entrance into the subtle worlds, realms of consciousness existing parallel to the physical universe, invisible to the eyes, but not to the heart. What greets the soul first is familiarity. It might sense loved ones who departed earlier, not as ghosts, but as radiant presences. These encounters are not bound by language or form. They are exchanges of energy, of recognition. The love once filtered through words and gestures now moves as pure vibration. People describe these reunions as the most real experiences imaginable. A mother meeting her child. A partner feeling the presence of their beloved again. No sorrow, no longing, only completion. Love that has remembered itself. From a scientific perspective, these experiences mirror what quantum physicists call entanglement, the phenomenon where particles, once connected, remain linked beyond distance and time. If consciousness is the fundamental field, then those we love are entangled with us forever. When you meet them again, it's not as two beings, it's as two frequencies, harmonizing into one. Beyond this reunion lies what many mystics call the realms of restoration. These are not heavens with walls and gates, but environments molded by thought, shaped by vibration. Spiritual research, from mediumistic accounts to near-death reports, consistently describes these places, landscapes of light, gardens that shimmer with consciousness, cities of knowledge where beings of compassion teach and heal. These aren't fantasies. They are symbolic translations of higher-order coherence fields, dimensions where energy organizes through intention and love. Here, the soul rests. It undergoes healing not through medicine, but through resonance. Wounds that were emotional on earth dissolve in currents of luminous vibration. The soul absorbs pure frequencies that restore balance at every level of being. This is the great rest after the human storm. the decompression of eternity. For some souls, this phase lasts what feels like months. For others, years. But time is relative here. Growth replaces chronology. The more the soul understands, the lighter it becomes. And as it lightens, it moves to higher fields, just as sound rises when it becomes purer. Some souls choose to study to deepen their understanding of energy, creation, and compassion. Others become helpers, guiding newly departed spirits, still lost in confusion. Many become what humans call guides, emissaries of empathy, who whisper through intuition, inspiration, and synchronicity to those still incarnated. The universe wastes nothing. Every consciousness, no matter where it is, serves the evolution of the whole. Eventually, a point arrives where the soul faces its next calling, to remain in the subtle planes or to return to Earth through reincarnation. This choice is not made by command. It arises naturally, like gravity. When a soul perceives that it still has lessons left to embody, it feels drawn back toward form, not as punishment, but as participation. To live again is to sculpt light into matter for the sake of learning. Before this return, the soul meets with beings of immense wisdom, what many near-death experiencers describe as a council of light. There, the next life is designed not as fate, but as a curriculum. Each challenge, each gift, each meeting on Earth is mapped as an opportunity for consciousness to expand. The purpose is always evolution, to refine love, to deepen awareness, to turn experience into wisdom. And yet, not every soul returns quickly. Some remain in these luminous planes, working, guiding, or simply existing in creative joy. For them, existence itself becomes meditation. To think is to create. To love is to build. To dream is to shape energy into reality. This is not fantasy. It's the natural continuation of the same physics that govern creation here. Energy responds to intention, vibration, obeys consciousness. Reality is the echo of thought. If that is true while you are alive, it is infinitely more so beyond the veil. From a scientific mystical lens, this stage reveals a fundamental law. Consciousness is primary. Matter is secondary. The body dies, but awareness remains because awareness was never born. It is the substrate of the universe. What quantum physicist Max Planck called the matrix of all matter. When you die, you don't disappear into nothingness. You dissolve back into this field, only to emerge again, refined, wiser, luminous. The soul doesn't climb upward. It expands inward toward the infinite center of itself, which is the same center found in everything that exists. This is the great secret, whispered by mystics and measured now by science. You are not a being in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself as you. And one day, when all lessons are learned, when love is complete and the frequency of self merges fully with the frequency of source, even the cycle of reincarnation ends, not as an escape, but as fulfillment. The wave returns to the ocean. The spark returns to the sun. You realize you were never separate, never lost, never alone. Death was not the end. It was the door back to everything. And maybe, just maybe, you begin to understand what all the great teachers meant when they said, to die before you die is to awaken while you live. 'Cause this same expansion, this same light, is available now. You don't need to wait for the body to end to remember that you are eternal consciousness. You can live that truth today through awareness, compassion, gratitude, and love. Each time you forgive, each time you choose peace over fear, you are already dissolving the illusion of death. You are practicing eternity while still in time. And that is the secret hidden inside the silence of the last breath. Your journey never ends. It only changes form. Energy transforming, endlessly returning to itself. Life, death, rebirth, all the same. Current flowing through the infinite consciousness that you truly are. And if you felt something awaken inside you as you listened, it's not coincidence, it's memory. It's your soul remembering what it always knew, that everything is connected and nothing is ever lost. Because in the end and in the beginning, you are the light. Subscribe to see what is hidden, and we are the consciousness portal.